Hello, beautiful people. How are you guys today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Shanmugam. I am so excited to be with you guys here on this gorgeous Friday. And for once in my life, I've actually been organized and I sent out ahead of time notice to you guys to turn up live on this Facebook like mini webinar I wanted to do. And it thrills me because you guys actually voted for this topic. So who is on here live, and can I get a hell yes if you're on here live? Hey, Natasha, so great to have you. And I'm sorry if I keep turning away that way. My desktop is over there, so in order for me to see comments, I have to switch over there. My desktop is too heavy to turn it around this way. So wonderful to have you guys. So let's dig in, okay? So before we get started, I just want you guys to ground yourself wherever you are, and I first want to congratulate you. Whether you're watching this live or you're on replay, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for showing up. And thank you, and thank yourself for showing up and, you know, just taking time out of your day to do something for yourself. Guys, it's easier said than done, creating time and making time for yourself. So many people find it hard. So first, I just want to say congratulations for showing up and turning up. All right, so let's just take some deep breaths to get ourselves grounded and in the present moment. And if your phone is on, maybe put it on silent. You might be watching this on your phone, but just try to turn off any notifications so your full attention and focus is here for the next 20, 25 minutes, however long this live is going to go, I don't know. So let's just take a deep breath, sit up straight, just relax those shoulders, relax the chin, relax the jaw, and just start breathing in through your nose, and you can breathe out through your nose or your mouth, whatever feels comfortable to you. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Just take a deep breath in. And just blow all that air out. Exhale. Let's do it one more time. And exhale. And I just love doing that because it just brings me to the room, to this moment that I'm in without being distracted by 1,000,001 things. All right, so let's dive in. You guys voted for this topic, and it was about how to create time for myself, and my life is crazy and chaotic. And I love that you guys picked this topic because it shows me that you are aware that you do need to create time for yourself. You kind of are aware of the benefits of it. You know it's essential for your well-being, and yet you struggle with, how do I do that? Okay, so I love this topic. So let's break some myths. Before I give you guys some actionable tools, let's just break some myths that you guys might have around creating time. So the reason we tend to struggle with things, and even though we know it's important, but yet we struggle to make it a priority in our life, is because we might have some limiting beliefs or some blocks around making that change. So what do I mean? So when it comes to creating time for yourself, you might have grown up watching your mother or just the women in your family, like never making time for themselves. And that might have been the done thing in your family to say, this is how women operate. This is what it means to be a mother, a grandmother, an aunt, a sister, right? That you put other people's needs above your own, okay? So that's myth number one, is if check in with yourself and ask yourself, what does it mean for me to create time for myself? Do I think that that means I am selfish? Does that mean that, does it make me feel guilty anytime I want to put my needs ahead of other people, right? Like I used to feel guilty for the longest time to even take time out for a meditation. And then I did write some myths down. You know, what is it? Oh, wrong page. Here we go. So taking time out for myself is selfish. There's more useful things for me to be doing, right? I can hear you guys think that. Let me know whether any of this resonates with you. Anytime you sit down, I had a client this week, I love her so much, and she's someone who's so used to doing things, okay? And she said that anytime she sat down to create time for herself, whether that's meditation or journaling or just some quiet introspection, she just all these voices in her head, like just her inner voice, was just like, there are more useful things that you could be doing, like the dishes, like the laundry, right? There are always a million and other things in our life that just seems more important. Anytime we stop and we are still, the busy to-do list is so loud. It's like, what are you doing stopping? Like, don't stop, right? So that's another belief that you probably have. Taking time for myself is wasted time, right? Like, nothing is getting done. I'm just wasting my time. Making time for myself is hard. That's a belief, you guys. Every single one of these thoughts is a belief, okay? And making time for myself makes me feel guilty. We've already talked about this. So many moms, working women, right? When you're not married, and maybe when you're single, this might be less of a struggle. But I know as a mother, it's easier now. But in the beginning, when I was implementing these changes of making more time for myself, just spending more time in quietness. So Nithya, you said mothers are expected to run around the kid always, else you're branded as a bad mom. Yes, that is so true. We are just expected to kind of wait on our kids' hand, like I think it's called hand and foot, right? Like we're just always supposed to be about them, and anything that we do for ourselves, it's seen as selfish. So these are all limiting beliefs. Hi, Eli. These are all limiting beliefs that has been just fed to us through our culture, cultural norms, okay? So here's a news flash for you. If you have any of those limiting beliefs, or if you have any that, you know, when you think about creating time for myself or making time for myself, what is the first thought that comes up for you? I would love for you to type that out in the comments, and so that we can just, you know, bust those beliefs right now. And I want this to be as interactive as possible, you guys. And maybe one of those beliefs is that, you know, taking time out for myself is a waste. Nothing really good comes of it. It's not productive. Okay, so that might be a belief. So as I was, you know, talking to one of my clients yesterday, she is somebody who is attached to her to-do list. Okay, she loves her to-do list. She comes from a long career. She's now retired, but she's had a career where her to-do list drove her every day, right? And her accomplishment, her sense of pride, her sense of accomplishment came from when she checked off as many things from that to-do list. Who here feels really proud of themselves when you have crossed off a million things from a to-do list, right? Like, are you one of those people who you'd have done something and then you'd be like, ooh, that wasn't even on my to-do list, so I'm going to put it on my to-do list, I'm going to cross it off, just so that I get that feeling of crossing it off. Guys, I'm not judging anybody here, and I'm not saying that's wrong. But when we get a sense of accomplishment and we feel good about ourselves from our to-do list, then your tendency is to do more and more and more and more and more, right? And it taking time for yourself then makes it so hard, because you have identified your success and your pride from doing things. And making time for yourself is about being, right? You are a human being, not a human doing, right? And when we talk about creating time for yourself, we are essentially talking about you being in the presence of yourself. And for a lot of us, that is so, so, so difficult, because we've been told it's wrong, we've been told it's lazy, we've been told it's unproductive, we've been told there are so many other things you could be doing. Why are you just sitting around, okay? And we've also been told that success only comes from doing things, that you cannot just be and feel successful, right? Success in itself comes from doing. Well, here's a reframe for you. What if success comes from being the most you, right? But you don't know who you need to be because you've never allowed yourself to just be, right? Hey, Jen. And the reason that, you know, I'm getting so like passionate about creating time for yourself is that your soul essence, your magic, the trueness of who you are comes from the stillness. When you are still, your magic gets distilled. You get very clear on your gifts. You get very clear on your truths, okay? Hey, Anne-Marie. And that is why stillness is so important, and that is why stillness is so freaking scary for a lot of people, because they are worried that if I am still, what if I get nothing? What if I find out that there is nothing to me when I am still? Which is complete bullshit. That's just a lie that your ego tells you to keep moving and keep doing things. Hey, Jen, I haven't seen you in so long. How are you, lovely? Hey, Anne Marie. So great to have you guys here. So let me know whether any of this is resonating with you. Whether you are scared of being still or you resist being still with yourself because you're worried the thoughts of I'm being lazy or unproductive comes up, or you're wondering, what do I do when I'm still? Like, what do I think? What if I don't want to have any thoughts? Like, am I doing this the right way? Okay. Hey, Desiree. So let me know when you think of creating time for yourself, what are the resisting thoughts that come up? What are the yeah, buts that come up? And what is it that stops you from creating time for yourself? Okay, so I've listed a few limiting beliefs for you guys. But okay, so now let's go to some truths of what it is to create time for yourself. What does it mean? Let me break another myth to you. Creating time for yourself does not mean spending hours and hours and hours on your own. Okay. I am a busy mother of two little kids. They are 8 and 5, and they have a million and one activities that I have to drive them around for. Okay. And I have a husband who has a very busy job, and he helps out as much as he can, but the bulk of the responsibilities falls on me. And of course, I run a full-time, this coaching business. And I remember talking to my own coach, and she said, I don't know how you do it all. You look like you have your shit together all the time. You just seem so calm and cool, right? And if I project that, I want you guys to know that I wasn't born this way. And this has been a process of tweaking things and learning to do things in a new way. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And so life feels crazy right now to you because you are not creating time for yourself, right? The whole topic of this is how to create time for yourself when life feels crazy and chaotic. Well, guess what? I'm going to flip it on its head and say that life feels crazy and chaotic because you are not creating time for yourself. Before I get into the how do you do it, I want you to understand the why you need to do it, because without the why, you will never stick to the how. I can give you the prescription all day long, but if you don't anchor your why do I need to do this, like get really clear on that, all the action items I give you will never work. Just like working out, you guys. You need to know why you want to get healthy. Like I work out. I never used to want to work out. I hated working out. I hated exercising. And now I make it a point to work out at least 4 days a week, right? And that's because, one, I'm very clear on the fact that I want to have a six-pack and I want to have Michelle Obama arms. And I get my ass to the gym every single time when I think about the end result. Okay? So life feels crazy because you're not creating time for yourself, right? And you're going from one thing to the other, and you're flying, oh, I got to get this. I got to put this fire out. I got to put that fire out. I got to put this fire out. And the reason for that is because you're not intentional. You're not intentional. And in order to be intentional, you need to make time to be intentional, right? What do I mean by intentional? So as soon as my eyes open in the morning, we're going into a little bit of the how. As soon as my eyes open in the morning, the first thing I do is set an intention for the day. And I say, today, my intention is to show up fully as myself. And that could be, the intention might change every day, but they are kind of the same. Where I decide that I am going to take time out for myself today. I am going to run the day, and the day does not get to run me. I try not to check social media as soon as I wake up because I don't want to be hit with bad news. So creating time for yourself starts from the minute you wake up, right? And are you a morning person? And I am not a morning person, but I try to get up earlier in the mornings to do at least a 10-minute meditation so that I have a sense of control over the day, so that it's not like go, go, go from the minute my kids wake up. So the why is creating time for yourself actually benefits you in the long run because you get to run your day. You feel in control. The other reason, the other benefit of creating time for yourself is that when you get very intentional about how your day goes, you get really emotionally stable. What do I mean by that? I'm not saying you all are emotionally unstable, but me, I used to be so affected by external things that happened to me. the stresses at work, the traffic, the lines at the grocery store or Starbucks, or if somebody cut me off, or somebody I thought was being rude to me at the checkout line, or if my kids were just being short-tempered with me, right? Like I would fly off the handle. I wouldn't have the emotional maturity and the capability to handle what life was throwing at me. And if that's you, if you tend to get very affected by the things that happen around you, by by other people's moods and how they are showing up or how they're not treating you, and you find yourself very deeply affected by that, right? That's another reason why your life feels so crazy and chaotic. It's because you're letting all the outside external stuff affect your internal state. And when you start taking time out for yourself, when you start intentionally creating time for yourself, you become solid as a rock. So that could be a multitude of storms happening around you. Shitty things could be happening around you. But when you create that habit and start creating time for yourself, your internal state is no longer affected by the external circumstances. And guys, when you master that and when you start practicing that, the sense of freedom that you get, holy shit, it's like a superpower. I am not kidding you. I wouldn't say no longer like 100%, but I'm like 95% not affected by other people's moods, by other people's bad negativity, by other people's reactions. And if I am, it doesn't stick around for very long. I'm able to shake it off very quickly and able to get back on my day again, right? So creating time for yourself, that's one of the biggest benefits, is that you stop being at the mercy of other people, right? Right now, have a check-in with yourself and ask yourself, how easily do I get affected by other people, like cutting me off in line or cutting me off in traffic? Like, am I somebody who tends to honk at people if they cut me off, right? Or, do I just get very upset at somebody's like slicing me off, whatever it is, right? Check in with yourself and ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, like how much do I react, right? How much am I internally affected? And if it's high, like if it's towards an 8 or a 9, it's probably because you're not creating time for yourself, right? And I know it might seem like not linked, but I guarantee you there is a connection between the two. Because I know it because I live it. The reason that I always seem so positive and energized and just bubbly and perpetually happy, it's not because my life is perfect, you guys. It's because I have created ways for me to feel that way internally all the time. Okay, and I want that for you. Another one of big benefits of creating time for yourself, guess what? It's your family. It's not only you, it's actually your family that are the biggest beneficiaries of you creating time. You're like, what? What are you talking about? Okay, let me explain. So I used to be a really impatient mother. I used to snap at my kids all the time. Me and my husband used to yell a lot at our kids, right? We love our kids so much, but I know for a fact that we were not showing up fully as the best parents that we could be. And part of that was because I was so impatient with myself. I wasn't giving the time I needed for myself. I wasn't giving myself the attention I needed. So I was taking it out on my kids when they needed my attention. That is why, we tend to snap at our kids because they are grabbing for attention. They're like, mommy, 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 like a million times a day, right? And we tend to lose our shit with them and then feel like shit afterwards because they want our attention. But guess what? We haven't given ourselves our attention. So then when somebody else wants more of something that we haven't been able to give ourselves, we lose our shit like that, okay? So if you don't want to do it for anyone else, do it for your kids, do it for your spouse. The relationships you have will change. One of the biggest ahas and the testimonials when I receive from my private clients, what they say to me is that my relationship with my kids is so different, which is always like music to my ears because they're able to be more present, right? They're actually listening and paying attention to what their kids are telling them without their mind being on their work or their list of things to do, or just tell me what you need to do. Like, just tell me what you need to tell me so that I can just go do my next thing, right? Like, we don't want to do that to our kids. And I know you don't want to because you love them very, very much, but you don't know how. And you don't know why you're doing that. Well, guess what? I've just told you. You're doing that because you're not giving that attention and love to yourself first, so you don't have it to give to others. All right? So I hope all of these whys have made you realize why it's actually not selfish to, and hopefully it'll stop you feeling guilty the next time you decide to create time for yourself. Okay? All right, so moving on. The idea of creating time for yourself, okay? We all have 24 hours in a day, guys. Nobody has more time than the other, and yet some people seem to have their shit together and others don't, okay? And it's all about priority, okay? The next time you say, I don't have time, just try saying it's not important to me, okay? So the next time you tell yourself, I don't have time to spend on myself, instead try saying, I am not important to myself. That's essentially what you're saying. When you say, I don't have time to work out, what you're basically saying is that it's not a priority to me. Working out is not important to me, right? So that's a new aha for you. The next time you say, I don't have time to do this, tell yourself it's not a priority for me or it's not important to me, and see how that feels. And if you're okay with that, you're like, okay, I'll just carry on with my life and I actually won't do that because you're right, it is not important to me. But when you say, I'm not important to me, oh, that doesn't feel good, right? Yeah, so I hopefully, that will make you then go, oh, wait, I am important to me. If I don't take care of me, then who will? Okay, nobody's going to come tell you to take the afternoon off. Well, maybe Mother's Day is coming up, so maybe they might, and say, go get a pedicure and all that stuff, right? But it is so important that you start creating time for yourself, i.e. making yourself a priority. All right, so let's talk about how. Let's talk about the how now. How do I create time for myself? What does it mean to create time for myself? So creating time for yourself, one is priorities, you guys. What is a priority in your life? Is it your laundry? Is it your dishes? Is it having a spotless house? Is it being everything to everyone? Okay, a lot of us want to be everything to everyone, and then we lose who we are to ourselves. So, this how might not be easy. It might make you uncomfortable, but in order to get anything like great results in life, you have to do things that are uncomfortable. The reason you are here is because you've made yourself very comfortable in your comfort zone, right? You are experiencing discomfort in your life where it feels crazy and chaotic and you don't like that. So in order to get out of that discomfort is now your comfort zone. So in order to now get out of this comfort zone, you have to make yourself uncomfortable and do new things. So we've already talked about setting an intention for the day, right? When you get up in the morning and you look at your to-do list, it is impossible to get everything done. Prioritize the top 3 things. Hi, Mom. My mom's watching, you guys. So if you have a to-do list with about 15 different things on it, you guys, you're not going to be able to get it done. And to expect yourself to get it all done is doing yourself a disservice. So pick the top 3 projects that you want to get done. But guess what? Those projects need to be something, or hopefully they are something that moves you towards your life goals and desires, okay? So if one of your list of things to do is to work on your resume, but you tend to put it on the last after laundry and dishes and driving the kids around and getting the dinner done and doing the grocery shopping, picking up the dry cleaning and being at home for the plumber to turn up, whatever it is, guess what? That working on your resume needs to be moved up the list, and pick 3 of the most important things on your to-do list, okay? And celebrate. Even if you just got 2 of those things done, celebrate it, you guys. We forget to celebrate, okay? So hopefully I've given you permission to kind of release the pressure on the to-do list. Stop identifying your success or your happiness with how many things you got done on your to-do list, right? And instead celebrate that you prioritize 3 things and you maybe got 2 of those things done. But the things that need to be on the top of the priority list are things that move you toward your dreams and your desires and your goal. That is one way that you create time for yourself, okay? So if that's you looking for another job, then you need to create time to work on your resume, reach out to employers. Maybe you spend time on LinkedIn networking with people. And then, yay, you celebrate because you did something to move your dream forward, right? To move your goals forward. The second thing, creating time, we've already broken this myth, does not mean spending hours and hours on yourself. Hi, Sarah. It does not mean spending hours and hours on yourself. I don't have hours and hours to spend on myself. But you can do lots of mini things during the day with intention, and that's creating time for yourself. So what do I mean? So in the mornings, this is going to sound crazy, you guys, but this has changed my life. I'm brushing my teeth, or I am, doing my facial routine or whatever, and I quietly or out loud will say to myself, I love you, Visa. I love you so much. And I say that out as many, many times as I can. And guess what? You have just created time for yourself. Because instead of thinking of, I got to do this at work, I hope I, don't get stuck in traffic. I hope, I have enough time to pack my kids' lunch. Your thoughts are on you while you are brushing your teeth or you're putting your makeup on or whatever it is. You are being intentional about your thoughts. And that's one way you create time for yourself. How many of you would feel comfortable saying, I love you to yourself in the mirror, right? And then actually mean it. This is a very, very powerful exercise, you guys. If you don't already do it, I highly recommend that you do. Saying I love you to yourself in the mirror or every time you pass a mirror, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. I just try it for like 7 days and see how you feel, okay? So the other ways that you can create time for yourself is 10 minutes of meditation, right? Just 10 minutes of pockets of time here and there. Maybe a lot of you get overwhelmed about creating time for yourself because you think it's like this hour-long thing where you need to go get a pedicure. Guys, that is not what I'm talking about. Creating anything that you do with intention for yourself where you are turning your attention inward, that is creating time for yourself. So I started doing a lot of things with intention. When I'm making my coffee, right? We're going more into mindfulness, but when I'm making coffee, how can you make that experience of making coffee for yourself a little bit richer and a little bit juicier? I tend to put in some MCT oils. MCT oils are just, I won't go into the science of it, but it's something that elevates my mood and my frequency and my vibration. And the mug that I make my coffee out of, right? It feels good to me. It's a mug that I have hand selected. And I tend to put in those oils and I take just 5 minutes to sip that coffee by myself without any disruption. That is creating time for myself. What things in your day, in your routine, can you make it feel luxurious? Like you take that extra time to make it feel indulgent, right? And maybe you're not a journaler. A lot of my clients resist journaling. But maybe if you enjoy journaling or you want to start that as a new habit, it's you go get yourself a beautiful journal and a beautiful pen, right? That's creating time for yourself. And I've created like a list of 10 things here. Maybe it's reading. Maybe you like to read your Bible, or you have another religious book that really lifts you up, and you spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your time during the day reading that uplifts you, right? And if you listen to the news, I've said this a million times, like stop listening to the news. All right, instead listen to an inspiring podcast, or maybe you put on this live video on Facebook and just listen to the audio. Of course, don't watch it if you're driving in the car, but anything to uplift you, uplift your mood, right? Where you're learning something. Those are all moments where you are creating time for yourself. So I wrote down meditation, journaling, maybe some spiritual reading. Maybe you take time to do your makeup. Like I'm not someone who does my makeup every day, but today, this is me creating time for myself. I went and did my hair and I went and did my makeup because I knew I was going to be doing this live and I wanted to look good. Maybe it's you do your hair and you normally don't do it. Maybe it's stretching in the morning for 5 or 10 minutes to move your body. And as you stretch, again, instead of thinking about the million things that's waiting for you on the day, as you stretch each part of your body, you pay gratitude for your body, right? I tend to do that when I'm stretching after I'm done with my exercises. I thank my legs for supporting me. I thank my arms for, allowing me to hold my kids. I thank my eyes for allowing me to see. It's so important. Like gratitude will lift you up like nothing else will. We already talked about sitting down with a cup of coffee without scrolling on your phone, right? Just being in the moment, enjoying your coffee. Just 10-minute walk outside. The weather is so beautiful right now. Just go for a walk and take in the breeze and the color of the leaves, it is so vibrant and green. Maybe it's 5 minutes of dancing, getting your body moving, right? These are all tiny ways throughout the whole day about creating time for yourself. The way I define creating time for myself is when it gives me pure joy. It's when I am honoring myself. It's when I have moments where I feel alive, right? And feeling alive just comes from feeling present. And that could just be breathing, okay? And we've already talked about setting an intention for the day. So these are all the ways that you get to create time for yourself. Let me know whether this was helpful or you had any ahas from it, or is this stuff that you already have heard before and you're like, Visa, I really like that. You didn't really teach me anything, right? Like, I really want to know whether this was useful to you. So let me know. So we've already talked about, I had three truths written down where, truth number one is when you prioritize yourself, your family are your biggest benefactors, right? Truth number two, when you create time for yourself, you will be unfazed by external things that are happening because you have fed your soul. And truth number three is creating time for yourself is anything that you do with intention and by being present instead of being distracted and filled with doubt, right? Let me make sure I've covered everything for you guys. I think that is everything. Let me know if you have any questions, type those in, and I would love, love, love to answer them for you. So stop making creating time into this big thing and telling yourself that I don't have time in the day, and reframe that to I am not important. And when that doesn't feel good, well, guess what? You're going to know that you are important, and what are you going to do about it to change it? And you become a better version of yourself when you nourish yourself and you just give yourself time to be, and stop being so attached to your damn to-do list. It does not define you. It does not define how successful you are or how productive you are or how active you are. Your to-do list does not define you. All right, you guys, I would love to know how this resonated with you. And if you're watching this on the replay, post any questions that you have that I might not have covered, or if you're unclear on anything that I talked about. And if you have anything for future topics, I intend on doing these every Friday, covering one topic at depth. So that I really want to start helping you guys make some real changes in your life, okay? Hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.